Hello and welcome to the Rotary Club of Broadbrook, Connecticut's Service Above Self. I'm Ann Osborne. As we often do here on Service Above Self, today once again we'll be exploring the vocational service side of Rotary. Rotary's Vocation Avenue of Service encourages business professionals to share their expertise with others, including what is involved in embarking on a career path in that profession. Traveling to new places can be extremely complicated and confusing. Many tourists don't have the time or the knowledge to deal with changing airline schedules, different fares, researching packages, and so forth. So they hire travel agents to book their travel plans. Our guest today is Marianne Kohanic. Marianne is a luxury travel specialist for the Cruise and Land Store, and she's here to talk to us about being in the travel industry. Marianne, welcome.
Hi, Ann.
What made you decide to become a travel agent, and how long have you been doing it?
When I was just 13 years old, I was a paper girl, and they had a contest. Whoever sold the most subscriptions would win a free trip to Florida. So I was very ambitious, and we went out in a van with some of the paper route managers, and we went door to door, and I was one of the winners. There was about 25 of us. And just several weeks later, I was standing at Bradley Airport going off to a free trip to Disney World.
Nice.
And I really think that influenced me. It was just amazing that you could be home one day and be in Disney World the next.
Wonderful.
So then when I turned 18, I decided that that was where I wanted to go with my career, and there was a travel school right in Springfield, Mass. I lived in Chicopee, and I went off to travel school just for several months, and from there, that's when I became a travel agent, just 18 years old. So,
wow.
And since then, I've been in and out of the industry in different ways, and I really still love it, just like I did then. I never lost the love for it.
That's great that you could do what you love to do.
It is nice. I like it.
What kind of schooling is involved? Do you need a license or anything like that?
You don't. It's not like other careers which can be more complicated, like real estate, such as that. What you need is just to have a love of travel. You need to be highly organized. You need to be able to think out of the box. Every client is different. Every package is different. So you have to like change.
What type of opportunities in employment are there in being a travel agent?
Well, you could work for a travel agency. You could be corporate or vacation. You could work for a hotel in that industry. You could work for the airlines. You could also work for a tour operator. So there's many different opportunities.
And which is your favorite?
I like working for a travel agency, and I work as an independent agent now, which I like the most. So I get to work from home and determine my own hours, which really fits my personality, so it's perfect. But for many years, I did work in a storefront.
And what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of working home versus working at the store?
Working at the store, normally you're a salaried agent, and there could be some commission. Working independently like myself, so I work totally on commission. Also, you have to be very self-motivated in order to keep the hours that you need to keep. So I think it just depends on your personality, works best for you.
Okay, very good. How do you promote your business? What types of social media do you use versus, working along with a store, you have the business to back you up. What do you use to advertise yourself?
Well, I do have a Facebook page, which I use to more share information, and I do use LinkedIn. Again, I share something new maybe or a special that's on, but how I find my business is through referrals. I work 95% through referrals, and through that I go out networking. I attend small groups in the morning, I go out to evening groups, I work with the Chamber of Commerce, I join several of those. So my business is mainly through that. As far as referrals, the company that I work for does not give me referrals, so I have to find all my own business.
And I would imagine being in it for so many years, you must have a lot of referrals.
Yes,
well,
yeah.
That's good.
And that's the best way. When someone calls you up as a referral, there's already a trust between the two of you, and I like that. If you put an ad in the paper, some of the people that call, they're just calling 10 different people.
Right.
So I like that level of trust that is already there when you begin.
I would imagine, like any good doctor,
That's right.
you really trust the person, and you know they're going to do a good job. So that's great. That's great. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about getting a trip and reserving a trip. There's online, but there's a lot of resorts that you can only get benefits through going through a travel agent, or are you as an independent able to get the same benefits from a travel resort company that you would by going into a store?
Yes, what they're called is consortiums. So travel agencies belong to consortiums. I'm not sure how many there are, but they have large buying power. So they work with each of the tour operators and each of the resorts with a group of travel agents. So we are able to get the best rates. So I'm not working just standing alone. I belong to consortiums.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Because a lot of times they have really good benefits and packages.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. And everyone has a little bit different, but they're all terrific, you know, onboard credits and things like that. So we take advantage of all those.
Great, great. What kind of hours do you put in? Having your own business, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming.
And it changes with the seasons. When it starts to snow, my business increases, so I work more hours. Around tax season, it gets slow. It's as if everyone says, well, I can't spend any money right now, so it gets a little slower.
Right.
So the wonderful thing is I change my hours with the seasons. So
I
yeah.
would think the summer would be busier.
Summer does get busy too, but I'd say the winter, when people are just before then, they're trying to get away. But
Yeah.
it always changes. Destination weddings can be at any time of the year, or anniversaries and that type of thing. So I tend to average about 30 hours a week is my
that's
average.
not bad. That's
yeah,
not
mainly
bad.
during the day, but
Yeah.
I have evening hours for clients that need to work in the evenings, and Saturday and Sundays by appointment. So the flexibility is there for my clients.
And I'm sure as your children were growing up, that was a major benefit, being able to
Absolutely.
work from home. So
Yeah.
that's a great thing that you're able to do that. What other kind of benefits do you find that you have in the career?
Oh, well,
I
there's
would
great
imagine
benefits, yeah.
traveling is one of them.
It
Can
is,
you-
and that's one of the strong points of why, you know, we even love the business more. But we do get discounts with some of the hotel chains. We'll get up to 50% off sometimes. It's always based on availability. We have discounts with the tour operators. They'd like us to come on their tour, so they'll work things out with us so that we can attend the tour at a discounted rate. There's what's called FAM trips, which means familiarization trips. So sometimes, like I went to Ireland last October, they flew us to Dublin, and then 40 of us traveled on a bus throughout Ireland, and we would see, say, 4 to 6 hotels a day, and we would also see the different sites. So they're educating us the entire time, and that was complimentary.
Oh, wow.
And then sometimes there's a
nice.
small charge. It all depends.
Yeah.
But those are wonderful. So we are working.
And where was your
Yes.
favorite place that you've gone so far?
Oh, so far, well, in Ireland, I was going to say Connemara, which was a beautiful garden castle we went to. But as far as a favorite place, Assisi in Italy.
Really?
There was some charm about it. Francis Basilica's there, and it was just beautiful. There was something about it, and the gelato, of course, was wonderful, and the cobblestone roads, and I love everywhere I go, but that was very special there.
Better than pictures, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You look at pictures, but it's the emotion you feel when you see it, and I think that's what you really get from a vacation is all of a sudden you're looking at a scenery and you feel it, and you don't always get that out of a picture.
Not a bad career, I'll tell you. Now, in doing this for so many years, there's been major changes in the travel industry, especially in the last 10 years or so. What kind of changes have you seen, and how is it affecting people in their travel?
Well, from when I first started, we did everything with books and catalogs, and we did have airline computers. But there was no Google at that time, or if it existed, I didn't know about it. So we just did our work at our desks. Now, years later, with all the internet, now any destination you want, I can research and find out. All my training is right on the computer. So although the internet came in and took away some of our business for the people who really wanted to do their own, it also made it much easier for us to research destinations and to be able to, I can sit at my home and book anywhere in the world with any tour company. And I think that in the beginning, a lot of people went directly to use the internet, but they're coming back now because of information overload.
Yeah.
When you Google
Yeah.
a destination, you get too much and you don't know who to choose. And the other thing, you may get a tour operator who wants to work directly with you, but he won't tell you if there's another tour operator that would be better.
Right.
And
right.
so I look at that. I look at what's the best match for you. And the internet can't do that.
Yeah. What would your advice be if you could spend a couple minutes with someone who is looking for either a student coming out of school that just doesn't know what direction to go to in life right now, and this might be a good possible career for them, or someone who, like my age, who is tired of the corporate world, and not that I am, I don't want to get in trouble with my boss, but but that wants to do something different and loves to travel. I personally love to travel, so if I was interested in changing careers, what kind of advantages, disadvantages, if you can kind of cover
Sure.
somebody looking into doing something like this?
The first thing that I would do, no matter what your age is I would visit several of your local travel agencies, make an appointment with the manager, and ask them what opportunities they might have. Travel agencies are there's less of them than there used to be. There used to be one on every corner, and now you'll find just a few. So that was the change with the internet. And they have only several employees. So I would talk to managers to see what they have for openings, and I would also talk to some of the bigger agencies. They have in-company training programs. And I would just see what opportunities are in your area. You could work part-time to full-time, but it's a big investment of time because you need to know the entire world. So you usually don't get to be just a Disney World destination person or a Caribbean. So what happens is first you're doing Disney, then you're doing the Caribbean, and then someone's asking you about Africa. So it takes a big commitment.
Are there any kind of college courses or any adult education courses with like a training guide, just to jump into something like this, how would you do it? Because a lot of times you'll see adult education programs in your local town. Is that something that they have?
I have not seen any of those, but there are internet programs. But you have to be careful because they'll offer to train you, and you can be a travel agent in 30 days.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important, if I was just beginning, to start with a storefront agency.
Okay.
I just think they're backing you up is very important.
So you almost want an internship with somebody.
That would be wonderful, yes. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else you would like to cover on the that I haven't covered on the career end of this before we take our break?
Well, I think it's a wonderful career, and I absolutely love it. I think that for salary-wise, it's not always the highest paying job. And so I think that if you're supporting your family, and it may not be the easiest way to go. I know that there's been times when, I haven't been able to make the salary that I've wanted to, but it always got compensated in the travel. So as long as you can work within that, then it will work for you.
Yeah. So. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then I have a lot of general questions to ask that I think our audience would be interested in.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In 1985, Rotary International committed to a goal of ending polio worldwide. Very soon now, after immunizing over 2 billion children, the goal will be achieved. Rotary, humanity in motion.
Welcome back. We're here with Mary Ann talking about travel agents, and when I go to see a travel agent, how can I be assured I'm going to someone that's not going to take advantage of me and who's going to give me the best possible bang for my buck?
What comes to mind is referral. If asking your friends whether they've used an agent in the past, I think a referral is the best way. Also, a company that's been in business for quite a long time. There's several in our area. I think that if they've been in business long enough, they're doing a good job.
Okay. Why is it better for me to contact a travel agent rather than me going on the computer and spending a couple hours in the evening looking for the best possible deal?
I think it's a good idea to do both. There's nothing wrong with doing your own research. It helps you come up with questions. But I think when you sit down with a travel agent, our job is to ask you questions and to help you figure out where you're going. You shouldn't be going because it's $3.99 and that's why you're going on vacation. You could, but you should be going because you want to be on a nice beach, or you want to have some culture, or you want to go to somewhere exotic. And then the destination should match where you want to go. And that's a travel agent's job, is to ask you different questions and then to match you. There has to be 10 different companies that go to, let's say, Costa Rica. But why are you going? Do you want to lay on the beach, or do you want to, do zip lining? And through our questions, we can help match you to and also the right level. There's like a first class, there's deluxe, there's luxury, and it's important to be matched into the right one. That way you say, oh, this is perfect for me. I'm having the best time. When people say to me, I went on that ship and I hated it, in my thing, I don't think they were properly matched to the ship. They probably picked it because of price or someone told them to go. But if they were properly matched, you should never hate what you do. It should be a good match to you.
So it almost sounds like if I had a dream vacation, I probably would go to a travel agent because they could probably get me the best deal, with me not looking into it thinking it would be too expensive, where in fact it may be able to be plausible.
There's a lot of advantages to using that agent. One is the one we just talked about. Two is we do look for specials. We do look for the best value for you. And even after you book, sometimes we'll find a lower fare. We'll do our best to get you adjusted, to get you a better fare. I do that quite often for my clients.
So sometimes you will find a better rate,
especially with cruise lines.
Online?
Yes,
Okay.
Cruise lines are often do that, but they're wonderful. If you call them and say your price is lower, they'll either give you the money back or they'll give you a credit on board.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's a lot of fun to call a client and say, listen, I found a better rate for you.
Well, I will vouch. I had my first cruise a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to go again. Yeah, I
They're-
definitely want to go again. What are the benefits of a tour group? I have personally have been very hesitant on going with a tour group, so enlighten me.
Well, they did a lot of funny movies about tour groups. I was just watching one, My Life in Ruins is a funny tour group. There's the A group and the B group, and they rush people from one place to the next, and they stay in poor hotels, or they show people in the movies missing their tour, things like
Yeah,
that. They're not like that at all. There's a lot of different levels of tours, but they're wonderful if that's what you're matched to. If you're an independent soul and never like to go with a group, then it may not be a good match. But let's say you've never been to Italy before. You can go and fly in. They'll meet you at the airport, which is so comforting. They'll bring you to your first hotel. In the morning, you'll have a tour. In the afternoon, you'll have free time. So there's a lot of free time. So you always,
okay.
and people don't realize that. There are tours, I would say, that maybe keep you busy all the time. But again, if you're with the right travel agent, they're going to say to you, what type of level it is. Is it fast-paced or slow-paced? And do you need to do a lot of walking or not a lot of walking? But,
Yeah.
And then they'll pick you up and they'll take you to Florence. And then they'll give you some tours there. And you'll always have the advice of the tour guide, but you'll have free time. And then you can go on to Venice. And then they'll bring you back to the airport. So
Oh, wow.
it's
Okay.
really not like the movies, not at
Yeah.
all. And there's a lot of choices. So it all depends which one you choose.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. A lot of questions about passports. Can you give me general information why I need one, how to get one, how long it takes? I know now that you can't even get into Canada without a passport.
Right.
So and I understand going on a cruise ship, you need a passport. Or the best thing to have is a passport
best
for
thing,
the cruise
right.
ship. Yeah.
Well, I suggest that everyone have a passport. When I meet someone and I say, do you have a passport? They say no. I think you should go out and get one. Who knows you're not going to get an offer to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it takes about 4 to 6 weeks is the general time period. But that can be slowed down because you think you have the correct documentation and then you don't. I've had clients run into this where you need your marriage certificate if you're now trying to get your passport in your married name, or you think you have an original birth certificate but you don't. So it's very important that you get all this done way ahead of time, and then you tuck that passport away, and then if you ever have an opportunity to go somewhere, if you go on a cruise, you can go from the United States round trip with just a birth certificate and a photo ID, a government photo ID, but it's not suggested.
Right.
Because you're going to be going into other countries possibly, and if anything happens there, you don't have the proper documentation
Right.
to stay there or to fly back from there. So the best way to travel is with a passport, and eventually they've already talked to it, it's going to be required.
And I understand there is a way to get an expedited
There is.
passport.
Yes, at the last minute you pay for it and you can have
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
that's not the
Costs
best
a
way to
little
go.
bit extra,
It does,
but
and then you
yeah.
have to have it express mailed to you.
Yeah.
But I suggest everyone have a passport. You have to dream big.
Okay, I'm all for that. In traveling, you have a lot of different places that you've never been. If you are handicapped in any way, in a wheelchair, walking with a cane, you have trouble walking or whatever, you're blind. What kind of handicap accessibility do you find in other countries in your travels? Because usually you have to have handicapped accessible everything in the United States.
Right.
Is that the same in the other countries?
It's not true everywhere. It's definitely not true. You need to do a lot of research before you leave the country if you have any disabilities. A lot of the cruise ships, they certainly have everything the way it should be, as well as hotels. But when you leave the country, I think it's always important to talk to each individual place that you'll be traveling to see that they can accommodate you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and each
That's
tour
good.
operator, if you're going on a tour, they already know your disability, and they're going to make sure that everything's set up for you, that you get the proper rooms. Even cruise ship have particular cabins just for that.
Right.
But they have to know, so you have to do your homework ahead of time.
Now, another thing I would imagine you'd need to do your homework is when you're going to a country where you don't speak the language. How does that come into play?
I think it all depends on personality. Some people like a challenge. They don't mind that. They get to a country and they don't speak the language and they just kind of make it work and they enjoy that. And other people, that really puts them off. Those are the people that should start with a tour company.
Yeah.
Maybe the second time they go back, they could go on their
Oh, that's
own.
a good idea.
I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
the first time you go with a tour. The second time you can be a little bit more adventurous. You can drive in foreign countries. I don't enjoy that myself, but many people love the challenge of that, driving on the opposite side of the
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
So I think it all depends on your personality. Just make sure that you're choosing things that you can be comfortable with, because although you want to have a vacation that's exciting and fun, not frightening.
Yeah.
Or not on
Yeah.
that edge of.
So the more
you know,
research you do on where you're going to visit, the better off your vacation will be.
Yes, and always learn those few words: hello, goodbye, thank you. Even if you can't speak their language, if you start off with hello and thank them, and then go into, do you speak English?
Right.
They're much more open to that.
Would you suggest one of the books? They have the books where it translates for you.
It does, but you know that I need to hear it.
Yeah.
So I think I would find something online.
Oh,
Even
okay.
today,
All
I
right.
was on a website, and the way I was saying this, it was, I can't even, Babi Laura Soren. But then they had a little button that you could push, and then they would say it for you.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's the best way, because with the accents and everything, you
Oh,
could really
so
kill
they have an Audible thing you can bring with you?
They do.
Oh, wow.
They do, and I think it's a phone app even. I'm sure there's a phone app, and that would
Oh,
be the
there's
best
an
way
app
to
for
say. There's an app for
everything.
yeah. But that way you're saying it, and they, you know, because you could say the right word, but if you don't say it the right way, they have no idea what you're asking.
Oh, that's a
them.
great idea.
Yeah.
Or you could be saying something you don't want to say.
You could be, and that would be yeah, not
Not good, not good. What would you recommend for honeymooners?
honeymooners. I think that they should do the best trip they can do. So I don't think they should break their bank or go, you know, into too high of a credit card bill, but they should make that a really terrific trip, because I find that once you're married and then you buy a house and then you have kids and then you start going to places that involve water parks all the time.
Yep,
That
yep.
it's until you're later in age that you get to do those trips
Your
again. That's not true
25th
for
or
everyone.
50th anniversary.
Yeah, it's not true for everyone, but many people just change their goals and objectives. But your honeymoon is when you can go anywhere. I have clients that watch The Bachelorette,
Yeah.
and so they're going to Namali in Fiji.
Oh, neat.
What a beautiful place to go. That'll be a trip that their lifetime. That'll be probably one of their best trips of their lifetime.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
and
wonderful.
Hawaii is a wonderful place always. I think that it's tropical enough and there's things to do. And again, you may not go again
Yeah.
until you're much older if you don't go now.
All right. And families traveling with children. What is your best advice for families with children?
Well, Disney World always comes up first, and I know but I love Disney World myself. I've been there many times. I think you can do it in so many different ways. Cruises are fantastic now for children because they have programs right on board. So the adults get some adult time and the children get their time. So I think that's a great choice as well. There's also places like beaches, that's like a Sandals, but it's just for families. Those are terrific. They have water slides and they have programs for the kids, and so the kids are having their own vacation and the adults are having their own vacation.
Yeah.
So that everyone, and then they come together at night and they have dinner together and they can see a show together.
Are those pretty cost effective, those kind of trips?
Yes, they're all inclusive.
Okay.
And so I think that makes a big difference, because then you're not watching your kids, how much are they spending, or they're
Right,
not finishing their
right.
it takes all that pressure off.
Yeah.
So you do pay more up front, but then once you're there,
It's all paid for.
yes.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
And they're high quality, you know, depending on the place you choose. If you choose a good all-inclusive, the quality is very good.
Good. Okay. What is the hottest trend in traveling now?
The hottest trend, I would say, is river cruising, and that is in Europe. They have at least 5 to 8 river cruise lines right now. They go through on the back roads of Europe, and it's like taking a cruise, but so different because you can usually see land from both sides, and there's no waves, and it's 2 or 3 stories. So
wow.
it's when you hear the word cruise, people say, I hate cruises, or I don't like cruises, but a river cruise, I wish they could use a different word. Then it should be a river journey.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any of that yet. You see maybe 6 different towns in Europe, and you only unpack once.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
So it's almost like going up the Connecticut River, but in a different country.
Right, and very beautiful.
Wow.
And you, everything's all inclusive, and including your beer and wine at your meals. So, and then each port you go to, there's an excursion included. So everything's prepackaged up front. So
Oh, that
once you
sounds
go,
wonderful.
there shouldn't be very few expenses from there on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just sent clients on a Christmas river cruise. They started in Germany and ended up in Switzerland.
Really?
Had the most wonderful time going to all the Christmas markets and
Wow.
sipping the, they're called glue, oh, I forgot the glue wine of some sort, just different, but they loved it. But it's a different way to see Europe.
Nice.
And you're
Very
not on a
nice.
tour bus. If you don't want to go on a tour bus, this way you have a lot more freedom.
Yeah. When you're traveling by plane, and what are some of the secrets of packing?
Secrets of packing. The less you take, the better.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of taking too much.
And I think most people are used to that now because of the way they have limited what you can bring on an airplane.
Yeah, and before we took a lot more. So I think it's important to make a checklist several days before that you can really check off, like that cell phone cord, that
Yeah,
charger
yeah.
that you need. And to realize you can always wash your clothes while you're traveling. Everywhere has
Yeah,
laundromats and things like that.
Okay.
So to take less so you're not too much dragged down by your luggage.
Can you give us a couple tips for your clients, briefly?
Yeah, so we talked about getting a passport. One of the ones is water shoes. Whenever you're going to a place with beaches or
That's a
anything,
great idea.
we went to Atlantis, and they have the most wonderful water slides, and but you have to go from one water slide to the next.
Yeah.
And that concrete is as hot as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so you run like a nut trying to get to the next one without burning your feet.
So the water shoes would work.
And if you
good.
go into the ocean and you step on a sea urchin, it can change the rest of your vacation. So
Yeah.
that's one of my top ones. Is that.
Wonderful, wonderful. And finally, where are you off to next?
I'm off to South Africa. I'm leaving on Mother's Day. I'm going on it's called a private luxury journey of South Africa. We're flying into Cape Town, which is wonderful. We'll fly into Amsterdam and then on to Cape Town, which is on the coast of South Africa.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And then we'll go to 5 different hotels, luxury properties, just to get acquainted with them. We'll see the winelands. We're also going to see the penguins and the seals. Now, for me, I never thought that's what you saw in South Africa, so I've been really enjoying the education I'm receiving already before I even go of the different things that you can do while there.
Well, we will look forward to hearing about your adventures when you come back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne.
You're very
for
welcome.
coming on board. And thank you for watching Service Above Self. Until next time, as always, we encourage you to go out, find a worthy cause, and lend a helping hand. Thank you very much.